Alright, I'm live. Welcome everyone. So today, this is the second stream for today. This is day number 22. But the thing is that this stream is not gonna be about the coding my startup. It's gonna be about something that I do to finance my startup. Basically what I do for a living is teaching Salesforce development. And here's the situation that I have. So, I have students. Not only one. Let's say that's the student. So students, they go to me and I teach them. Salesforce development. Now, in the recent couple of weeks, not only one student, but a couple of students of mine told me, hey Igor, can you explain us topics like promises, events, and LWC and grid? Those things. And I was like, yeah, sure, can I? Of course. What's the catch? Of course can I explain it. And then I went and explained the topic. And then they said, okay, can you explain it again? Somehow it doesn't click. And then I said, yeah, okay, I can explain again. And then it still didn't click. And like this, I had, I think, 3 students of mine. We tried to learn these topics. So I kind of realized that probably my materials and my explanation for these topics is not good. It did work on other students, it didn't work on some students. So in general, there's a lot of requests for those topics. And I want to spend this time actually going and trying to read how other people teach promises and events. Not so much grid. Grid is gonna be least important topic, but promises and events. And then I'm gonna go and try to teach this topic to my students, because this is something they're requesting so much, and I delivered not that much so far. And yeah, I know it doesn't really belong to building a business, to coding my startup, but this is part of building a business. Sometimes you're just getting pulled into other things that you don't expect getting pulled, or sometimes you have to do things that don't directly bring you into the direction that you want. Sometimes you have to go back and redo some stuff. That's just life. That's it. That's the life. And I think I'm gonna learn those topics much more efficient if I stream this process. And then at some point maybe someone can pick up and see how you take one topic, you distill it into subtopics, and you kind of teach it. Because that's what I've been doing for a living. This is what been keeping me a foot on the table for me. Okay, but before that, let me change here thumbnail. As always. 2.5. And check that I'm actually live on Twitch. Because who knows, I never trust the tech. Never trust the tech. I am live. Nice. Nice, okay. So, today is gonna be all about Salesforce. Not the other stuff. Yeah, and here I have my promises and events. I think I'm gonna start with the promises, because promises is the easiest topic to tackle. So promises. Let's see what other people say about promises. Promises in JavaScript. Promises JavaScript, the modern JavaScript tutorial. Let's see. I already clicked on that, and it looked like they have a really good explanation. Let's see. Let me also make my... How should I do it? I probably should do it like this, so that you can also read, right? So not much coding now, not much coding today, just understanding stuff. And quite frankly, I wanted to go deeper into the promises anyway. Imagine that you are a top singer and fans ask you day and night for upcoming song. To get some relief, you promise to send them It's published, you give them a fund list. Oops, here we go. Let's put a focus on, yeah, let's do an hour. Quite an annoying sound, I would say. Okay, so what they say, they say producing code that does something and takes time. For instance, some code that loads the data over a network, that's singular. I don't like analogies in general. I like examples, but I don't like analogies. A consuming code that wants the result of the producing code. Okay, I see that. Resolve and reject are callbacks provided by JavaScript itself. Oh yeah, another topic here. Callbacks. Callbacks. Okay, so we have executor. Okay, I see. We have executor. The promise is basically just an object in the state pending, and then we have the result, which is undefined. Then if we call resolve, then it goes into the fulfilled. If reject, then we go into the error state. Okay, let's see. So I can run here some code, right? Let's see. Let promise. Let's make this less. And put this thing out. Use strict, let promise, new promise, and then into this promise we point the function resolve or reject. And after timeout, we resolve it. After 1 second, signal that the job is done. Okay. Alright, I get this. Okay, let me save this one. This is a good explanation. This is a good explanation. Reject, new error. Whoops. Okay, there can be only a single result or an error. Okay, I see. Okay, so let me draw my own explanation, how I understand it, and how I'd be explaining this thing. Let's delete this awesome painting. So here we go. This is our code in LWC, right? So we have here LWC. Let's say we want to have another thing. Let's say what example should we give? Payment, not payment. Let's call it ERP system. So we have ERP system here. Okay, now we have here some code. Whenever we make some request from here, it can take a little bit of time to get response, right? And here we have some code as well. So it takes some time to process this, right? Take some time to process this thing. Let's say t equal 30 milliseconds, right? So it takes 30 milliseconds to work with, to process it for the server. Now in this 30 milliseconds, we don't really know what will be the result here, right? So we don't know what will be the result here. What is the result here? It can be success or fail, right? And they can be called differently, right? So they can be called differently, but that's not the point. It's not the point. Okay. Can be success or failure. Now the promise is a special object. So first of all, promise is object. So promise is basically the same data type as everything else. So promise is an object. Let's just call it object here. Object. And let me make it here a bit bigger and this one a bit smaller. Promise equal object. And promise can be in, basically it has here two variables, state pending, and what else did they say? State and result. Okay, result, and result is undefined. Result is undefined. Would be actually nice to write own promise. Can we do that? Or somehow replicate it? So state is pending, result is undefined. Hope it wasn't a lot. Okay. Now on top of that, we also have two methods here. Not only is it that, we have here resolve and reject. Resolve and reject. if we click, if basically resolve is called, we are going into the green state, which means that we have all the same things, but now the state is success, and no, the state is resolved, right? Fulfilled. Let's call it fulfilled. Okay, let's call it fulfilled. Fulfilled, and the result is done. Fulfilled. If it's rejected, then we go into another state. And I can make it red. And we don't have those anymore, right? It doesn't make sense to call it again. The same here. So the state is still fulfilled, but the result is error. And that happens if we have reject. If you have reject. Right? So two different states. Like this. This is how I understand it now. I always like to make it quite visual, so that's why I'm drawing it. Okay, we can reject a promise, and we can by passing an error there, okay? And okay, this is good. This is interesting. This is interesting. I'm gonna copy it for my explanation. This is interesting that how can I make it? Go on, just what's happening now? I'm sure there should be a way to break this thing. Okay, anyway, the properties and results of the promise. Ah, that's too much. Let me write. Simply, we can't access state and result, but we can use dot catch dot then dot catch or dot finally. That's important. The most important fundamental is one then. Yeah, that's basically when we have a success. Then that's what is getting called. Oh, this is interesting. I didn't know this, that you can attach a handler. If a promise is pending, handlers wait for its outcome. Sometimes it might be that the promise is already settled when we add handler to it. In such case, these handlers just run immediately. That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's cool. That's cool. Load script. Okay. Callback. So we return a promise here. What is the difference though? Okay. So basically it allows us to chain them. Okay. Yeah, promises chaining, okay. Oh, this is a very nice website. It's a very nice website. What else do they have? I like this website. Okay, we have promise API, Sunke wait. Okay, it's not really relevant for Salesforce though, Sunke wait. Callbacks. Because for Salesforce, really those, we don't really use those things in Salesforce. Many functions are provided by the JavaScript environment, yep. Okay, this is not relevant for me. This is not relevant for me. Let's read something else. Okay, that's basically the same. That's basically the same. Okay, I don't really need this. They've simplified. Let's see this video. This is not a distraction.
JavaScript, which look incredibly difficult, but are much more simple than they actually appear. So let's get started now. To get started, let's talk about the idea of a promise before we get into the actual syntax of it. A promise in JavaScript is just like a promise in real life. What you do is you commit to something by saying, I promise to do something. For example, I promise to make the best video on promises I can. And then that promise either has two results. Either that promise is completed, it is resolved, or that promise is failed and it is rejected. So if I give you the best video ever on promises, then I would resolve my promise to do so. But if I failed to give you the best video ever on promises, then that would be rejected because I was not able to complete that promise and I rejected it. So now let's look at the actual syntax of creating a promise. We can just create a variable here, we'll call it p, and we're going to set it to a new promise. And this promise object is going to take one parameter, which is a function, which gets passed two variables of resolve and reject. So we have our resolve parameter, our reject parameter, and then we need to actually create the definition of that function inside. And if you're confused by this arrow syntax here, just check out my video where I cover the arrow syntax for functions because it's extremely straightforward and much easier to write functions in this manner. So after you're done checking that out, now inside of this promise section, we need to define what the actual promise is.
Okay, I think this is actually something that I really want to save. Arrow function term.
Hello everybody, Kyle here. I have 4 examples of functions to help us understand the differences between the syntax for normal functions.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna save it as well. That definitely goes into my material. That's really good. That's a really good video.
Promise is. So in my example, the code inside of here would be me giving you the best video ever on promises. So we're just going to put some simple code in here. We're going to create a variable a, and we're just going to set it to 1 plus 1. So that way, this is what the promise does. And if this failed, we would reject it. So we would say, if a is equal to 2, we would resolve it. But if it is not, so let's say it's not equal to 2, we would reject. So in the reject, we can pass anything that we want back into this reject. We're just going to pass a message that said failed. And then in our resolve, this again, we can pass it absolutely anything we want, but we'll just pass it a message that says success.
Let's try it out. So the question is, the thing is, I cannot really try it out in, I mean, I can probably, let's see. So in LWC, I could write something like connected callback, and I can say let promise new promise, blah, blah, blah. And here, let a will be, it knows the code, it knows what I wanna write. Reject, failed, and resolve success. And let's see how is it outputted to the console. I'm quite curious about this. So promises test, and for the LWC we always need to set it to the true, and then where is it? No, go back. True, and also we need to set the targets here. Let me deploy this thing and make it bigger so that you can actually read something. Okay, so this is Salesforce. For those people who wonder, that's the Salesforce. And I don't know, let's go to the accounts, for example. So we go to the accounts, let's take this account and let's put my LWC there. Promises test. By the way, I wanted to try free SVG to set up. I've never done it. Like I must confess, I've never done a single SVG for Salesforce component. Let's set it up. I know it's a little bit of procrastination. I know, but why not? Why not? Not everything's supposed to be strictly all the time coding. .svg, and I guess that's the whole SVG, right? Supposed to be an SVG. Let's see if that's gonna be deployed. If it's not gonna be displayed, I'm not gonna debug it, because I don't wanna spend time on it. Okay, anyway, so my promise test. Let's put it here. It doesn't really matter because it doesn't have any components in it. I already have it. Okay, so I have here a promise, and the promise is indeed fulfilled. Fulfilled and success. That's good. Let's see. So let's see if that's gonna be 3. I think it's gonna fail, right? Rejected, failed. Okay. So if it's rejected, it means, or if it's fulfilled, it means that we can go here and say promise. Promise dot then. And then we can catch it, and then we can have finally. So then we'll accept what do we accept here, by the way? Usually we do something like this then. ABC equal to this one. And then catch, and then we have finally. And usually it's called result. Result, catch. Error. And finally, does finally have any argument? Probably no, right? Then we'll call with what passed to resolve, catch will catch what was passed to reject, and finally all ways call after success failure. Ah, okay, so we will... Ah, okay, so this is failed. Ah, okay. I see, failed and success. Yeah, that makes sense. Interesting, what about the finally part? Finally result. Yeah, basically this little break from my coding stuff that I did in the morning. For me in the morning. Just an action to do anyways. Yeah. Error failed. Finally undefined. Okay, so finally doesn't really accept anything, right? Finally, I mean that kind of makes sense. Can remove this part. And let's make it to success. Let's refresh it. Yeah, promises are important in JS, so you have to understand their functioning. This is well invested time. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've been using them all the time without like going deep into how they work. I mean, they're super easy. Like, it's nothing. I was expecting to go much deeper into them, but I don't see anything else. Like, that's very simple. Like, that's it basically. Probably there's much more complicated stuff once you like using them, but outside of the Salesforce maybe, because in Salesforce that's it. Like, that's how you use it in Salesforce. I don't even know how any complex use case in my 4 years of Salesforce development. I've never seen a complex use case with anything like this. So I think I'm actually good with the promises. Let me save the code that I have. And gonna call it promises. I mean, that's good to go as a... I think it's a good explanation, basically. Resolve, reject. promises. Now the thing is, for example, I know what is greed and I know how to use it. Now trying to teach this, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. It's like one thing to understand it and to use it, and another thing is actually to teach it. Because when you teach it, you need to go like one step by step. Does JavaScript has things like events in JavaScript? I don't trust this median docs actually. Let's see, introduction to events. Let's see. Whenever I read them, they sound kind of very, I don't know, very dry. Let's see. I'm curious how different it is from Salesforce. Actually, it's the official docs. They're up to date. Yeah, I know, I understand it, but why is it Mozilla.org? Like, does web docs? What is the relationship between JavaScript and Mozilla actually? They're light and pedagogy. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, documentation is usually not the. It's not the best to get. It's good if you're a developer, but it's not get on actually explaining or teaching something. It's more like they describe something, right? And they also describe basically everything. So they go way above what you need usually. That's why I'm hesitant about those docs. So I would rather search for some kind of tutorial, because I want to see how people teach those events, for example. But let's say I don't even know. I think events in JavaScript are different in comparison to the LWC. So I don't know. Let's see. Or maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. We have a single button in the page, and then we have some JavaScript. Add event listener. There are two modes for me. I want to get something fast running, I will go to tutorial video, or I won't fully understand something, I go to boring official docs. That's true. Something that I always have to fight in how I approach things is watching tutorials. This is so inefficient, but it feels so easy. Like, it's so easy to just go like this and chill and just watch tutorial, versus reading something, no matter is it a book or is it official docs, is hard. So I agree with you. Whenever I want to chill and pretend that I learned something, I turn into tutorial. But sometimes there are tutorials. Sometimes tutorials are better than official docs, but still, like video tutorials. Whenever you need to actually see something happening, then it's good. Add event listener. I don't think we do have this LWC add event listener, but it is not really. It doesn't really work the same way. Well, it kind of, so the thing with LWC stuff is that it has a part from JavaScript, but it has also a different part. Okay, I was reading about events. I don't really like this thing. I need some better examples. Or is it how they are done in JavaScript? Probably that's how they're done. That's funny that I get ads from Munich to New York. I would actually like to go. If that's the real price, 381, that's like nothing. Here we go. I clicked on the ad. Now now I'm gonna for the next 3 months, I'm only gonna get tickets. The ad worked on you. Yeah, exactly. But I see I recognized it at the right time. I didn't buy it fully. Of course of course it's not that cheap. Of course it's not that cheap to go from Munich to New York for what, below 400 euros. That sounds not right. Event bubbling. In the event bubbling model, an event starts in the most specific element and then flows upward towards the least specific element. Event capturing. Actually, it works quite. It. This is too much detail. I think just find a use case that you want to do and apply things if necessary. That's the thing. I wanna pass, like, I understand how it works and I understand the use cases, but I wanna teach it to my students. So I kind of searching for exactly those things. Like I wanna give a simple example in LWC how to use, like, what are the events. And I already have some teaching materials on events, but I wanted to see how other people teach it, like here, for example. And I see that if you search for LWC, you can see that it's not as mature as JavaScript explanations usually. So that's why I was searching for JavaScript explanation, and they're good, but again, they don't apply one-to-one to the LWC, even though I recognize a lot of things. Let's actually search for LWC events, and let's see how they explain it. I think it's for the first time on the stream, and I'm gonna read official Salesforce documentation. So now the comparison to the Salesforce documentation. Here we go. That's it. That's someone who prepared for a long read of a long article. Don't. Because that's Salesforce. Okay, create and dispatch events. Ooh, videos. Nice. Yeah, but this is cross-component communication. We need an explanation what is an event in LWC. And I know that we can dispatch our own events. So here's the problem that I face. Basically, a student goes to me and says, "Ear, what is an event?" And I go and show a few examples. I explain that event is basically like a way to communicate between two components, but I don't have a definition. I don't have a one sentence that's gonna say event is this. So how they explain it is an action that occurs in the web browser. This is so vague that that doesn't mean anything. Which the web browser feedback, so you can respond it. For example, when you click on a button on a web page, you may want to respond to this click event by displaying dialog icon. That is the thing. Like, so we can go and describe event like this. Event is an action that occurs in the web browser. But then the next question, okay, so how does it look? Like, can you show me how does it look? And this is what I basically wanna find out. and we can also do that. So like it's not hard to implement here a handler. Let's say handle click, button clicked, and here I can do event, and here it will be something like plus event. It's usually an object that has some data in it. Exactly, that's the thing. So one question that I don't know the answer for myself is that sometimes it's event.detail, sometimes it's event.target, sometimes it's event current target, and blah blah blah. So they have different structures, those events. I'm not sure if that's the case. Cloyd says hi. Hi, Cloyd. So I don't know if that's the same for JavaScript or is it just LWC specific. Which means that there are kind of different types. It's usually, so I think it's usually an object that has some data in it. I think it's actually good. I think it's even better than saying that this is an action that occurs. Let me write it down. Where's my Excalibur? So promises, quite clear how to teach. Now event. What is an event? And they said that an event is an action that occurs in the web browser, which is true, but it's so vague, Basically, what you say is, yeah, for sure they have specific fields. Event is basically an object with some data in it. The best thing would be if we could somehow recreate some parts of these events. And in LWC it's so easy to throw an event. You just say something like this dispatch event, and then you just say new custom event, and that's it. So it's so easy. So I think that it doesn't really give an explanation. What are the events? Okay, so let's say we have here lightning input. Why are you making this tutorial instead of working? Because that's a good question. So I'm running a teaching business, right? So I do teach, and that belongs somehow to the business. Because if I don't do this, all my students leave, and I have to close everything and search for the new students, or finish my project, and I don't know. But anyway, this is my main business basically. This is what I'm doing. This is my main business. And to be honest, I got addicted to hanging out with you guys. What framework is this? This is LWC. This is a Salesforce proprietary framework for front-end development, which uses JavaScript, not even TypeScript. Yeah, I somehow got addicted to streaming. I don't know how it happened, but I guess if you stream for every day for the 22 days, it's kind of sticks to it. And actually, it keeps me focused. It keeps me accountable, because I cannot just go now and I don't know, open a YouTube video and watch some memes. Handle change. Handle change, and say change. Yeah, let's deploy this thing. So in Salesforce, whenever you wanna send some code, you have to deploy it. You have to deploy it. gets sent to the Salesforce because you don't have anything locally, and then you have to go to the Salesforce. You have to open the page where it is, and you need to go there. And it's not enough to just refresh. You have to hard refresh because it gets cached by the browser, so you have the old version. That's how it works in Salesforce. Okay, so we have here enter a number. And that's what we can see here. So how do you manage CSS? I don't know what I should approach. Like, are frameworks worth it? I keep forgetting what I wrote and I think my code is messy. Well, isn't it? Isn't it what we all do? All the code is messy. I've never seen a single project that had a beautiful, completely 100% best practices code in it. So here we go. This is how this event looks like actually. Is trusted false and composed true. Now I don't really know what it means. Do you use Tailwind or something for so for the project that I'm writing? Yes, I do use Tailwind. But in Salesforce we have something similar to Tailwind. We have it's called SLDS. SLDS. It's actually really good for Salesforce. That thing feels so new and so fresh. It's kind of very very simple Tailwind, I would say. I believe custom lightning, grandparent on blah blah blah, bubbles and composed. Okay, let's event is okay. So this thing that is not LWC specific. This is the thing from actually events. Okay. Oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. Okay, so let me write down what are all possible events that I know. In Salesforce, on save, on change, on submit, on click, on no idea what else. Standard events. And here we go. So I cannot really find just the list of all events possible. On change, did I already write on change? I think I did. Nope, I didn't. On change. On change. I think those are actually all of them. I don't remember anything else. What is Salesforce? It is my first time hearing about it. Well, if you heard about this first time, that's Salesforce is basically a CRM system. That's how it looks inside. That's Salesforce. You have opportunities, leads, accounts. That's for big companies like Coca-Cola that wanna manage their clients, and they have huge clients. That's for them, I think. And programming on Salesforce, it's a little bit like programming with Java on the backend, and like programming with something like React, very simple React on the front end, I would say. Here's an example, by the way, for those who are wondering how it looks. Let's say, yeah, that's basically how Salesforce looks like. So here you have the classes inside. So if you compare it to Java, it's very similar. Looks quite the same as Java. So for example, get strings here and blah blah blah. So the same strongly typed object oriented. This language is called Apex. So that's, and now this kind of Java for Salesforce. but we are doing events. Okay, handle submit. On submit, I have it. On change, I have everything. I have everything. Now, what they said here is that is trusted will be true if submitted by a script, and it will be false if by user action. Okay, so this thing we have. Now the second part of this was composed, and for this, for the composed, it's gonna be much more difficult because composed is much more complex topic than this trusted composed. Yeah, let's do this LWC event composed. I think it's called propagation. Propagation, yes, event propagation. I remember learning this topic for my Platform Developer 2 certification. So Salesforce's beacon certifications. And yeah, I remember learning this topic. It's not an easy topic, especially. So the reason why this topic is not easy, because you rarely use it. Usually you don't use those things. Just a second, someone is calling me. I'm curious if you could hear it, but basically, okay, just my girlfriend called me to put out. I guess what can it be? Of course, I had to put out something out of the fridge. That's why can a girlfriend call? All right. So, event handler. Yeah, but those events in Salesforce, they are a little bit heavy. I think this is important. Knowing what you will use it for, it will help you understand why I designed this way. That's a good point. Like I have never used those bubbles and propagation. I wouldn't even know why would you need them. Let's see. Usually, okay, let's see. Maybe some on this one. They're gonna say why they're using them.
Hello everyone, welcome back my YouTube channel Salesforce Hunt. This is Rohit and I hope you are good and doing well. So today I'm going to show you event bubbling in JavaScript, and this is very most important for us, for JS developer as well as LWC developer in Salesforce. If you are new in this channel, I request you please subscribe my YouTube channel for more updates. So let's get started without any further delay. So what is the event bubbling in JS? Let me show you here. So in JS, event bubbling is a process to capturing each and every event from bottom to top. So always remember, bubbling always occur from bottom to top. So in the event bubbling model, an event is start at the most specific element and then the flow upward toward the least specific element, the document or event window. Right. So in my screenshot, now you can see I have button, div, body, HTML and document. So if you don't know about document, so document is nothing, it's a web page in your browser, right? So under the document, document always work with the DOM object. So DOM is nothing but document object model. Under this document object model, we can see like root hierarchy of the elements.
This is the thing. I don't understand why we need them. I don't understand, and I can understand how it works. They are bubbling, so we can catch them at certain level, and we can, for example, say event.prevent default at certain level, and we can do it, for example, in the parent. But why do we need it? Why do we need them? Why do we need event propagation in LWC? What is the use case? Because I've never had a use case. Okay, I see. So ChatGPT thought that I'm asking about just communicating with events. I don't mean communicating with events. I mean that what is the purpose of having these things with the bubbles false, composed false? Let's first read about that. Okay, it's actually quite simple though. It's actually really simple. Like those things with the bubbles and composed, they just configure. It's focus thing. Let's do 1 more hour. I hope it's not too loud for you, this sound, because for me it just hits my ears. But for you it should be less, because I have here on half. It's actually quite easy. It's actually quite easy. So this bubbles, false, and composed false. Bubbles and composed basically just configurates where in the hierarchy it's gonna stop. The one question that I don't understand, like I understand what they do, but I don't see the, like for example, if you say for me bubbles true and composed false, I wouldn't know how from this information derive where the event is gonna stop. First of all, I'm gonna save the last this one, because I think it illustrates quite well the bubbling part. And let's see if this is a good one. Oh, this is good. When an event bubbles,